And we're live. So we're going to get straight into it. I'll pass it straight over to Rog. As always, make sure audio is okay. I'm just checking now in OBS, but I'll pass it over to Rog because he's going to be the host for today anyway.
Yeah, I think get into it. It's just welcome to this Recentered, Reprojected special because Brad was right. And also, we've got to thank Steve for purchasing a Pimax crystal in order for Steam, for Valve to then launch the, or announce the Steam frame anyway. But yeah, so yeah, I'm here again as always with Gary, Lee, and as you can see, Steve's joining us as well for our thoughts on the Valve announcement. So I think there's a few ups and downs with it personally, but let's get into it. So for anybody who doesn't know yet, this is set to launch in early 2026. And, well, we've not got a price so far. The only thing we do know is, according to Norm from Tested, Valve have told him that they're aiming for a sub-index price, although they do see it as a premium headset. There's no pre-orders up yet, so the big question is, before we get into all the specs and everything else, who is going to order one or pre-order one when the time comes? And what's your guess on the price? Come on, Gary. Kick it off.
Yeah, like we were saying before, it will depend on the price, and yeah, I guess it's got to be to even tempt me. It's got to be around £600, 700 at the most, I would say, and even then, I don't know. I'd need to see more sort of hands-on with it and what it has over the Quest 3 for specific functionality. I think it's got some stuff which is good over the Quest 3, which we'll get into, but whether that's worth, making that extra investment in this headset or not, I'm not sure. So it will all come down to the price, as we were saying, and I'll take it from there, really.
Yeah, it's gonna be the big one, isn't it? Definitely. Lee, I think your opinion seems to be, what's it going to do over the Quest 3 at the moment?
Yeah, well, like I spoke before we started, I mean, what's the main benefits of this over my Quest 3? At the minute, I'm totally happy with. Do you know what I mean? For what I game, I've got 300 apps on Quest, so would I have to buy 300 apps again? Do you know what I mean? I don't know how the whole game thing works. Like I was speaking to you about Walkabout Mini Golf, weren't I? If they do a port for that, will I get the games that I've got on Steam? The DLC, will that be ported across to that game? I don't know. I did find something like that, but
yeah, I did find something which I added to the doc at the last minute, which they say on their webpage, but we can get to that later.
Oh, the doc I've not got up. That's just reminded
me. That's the one.
That's the
one. Yeah.
But price-wise, I mean, I was thinking like $799, and maybe for the 256 gigabyte, and then maybe $999 for the terabyte one. But I don't know if I'm being pessimistic, optimistic, or what with that. I don't know, or whether they're going to offer bundles. Like I said, I was speaking before, will they offer some sort of bundle situation with it? I don't know. These are all unanswered things, but at least we've got some specs, and it has actually been released, and we haven't got to wait another 2 years of just pure speculation. So that's good.
Yeah, it's real. We've known it's going to be coming out at some point, haven't we? But it's nice to have confirmation. And Steve, who's just bought, I can't remember which Pimax you've just bought.
Light.
I just got the Crystal Light.
Crystal Light, yeah. So do you think you'll be adding a Steam frame to your collection?
Well, if you'd asked me 3 days ago, I probably would have said yes, because I would have made some assumptions on what the Steam frame is. Now that we have some information, it's not as clear cut to why deviate from a Quest 3 necessarily. So I think the devil's in the details. Gary stole my thunder at the $699 US price is what I pegged it at. When I look at this, and I know we're going to get into all the specs, but when I look at, how are they pushing forward? And I don't think necessarily that Valve is pushing forward here. I think they're entering and pushing their ecosystem more than they're pushing specifically VR improvements, industry improvements. So with that, though, I think that kind of makes me think the price can't be $999 or $1,200 and all the rumors. And they may not be able to subsidize it as heavily as Meta has to some degree. But so, yep, I'm coming in at $699 for the base 256 gig.
So the whole thing where they've said they consider it a premium headset, less than the index, fine. So is the index still $1,000? It's like
Yep.
$1,000 still.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say I've got a slight range, but I'm gonna say $799 to $899. I think the premium thing sort of makes them not. I don't think they're gonna want to lose on it. They're not gonna want to do a Steam Deck, so I don't think it's gonna come in, you know, close to the Steam Deck price. I think it's gonna be more.
Do you think, would that tempt you though, based on what we know about this so far? We should probably go through the specs though. That's thing.
Well, this is the thing. I was talking to Lee yesterday, and I said to him, "I've got £1,000 sat there, and if the pre-orders launch and it's 1,000 or less, I'll do it." Having seen the specs now, I don't know. I'm less enthusiastic. It will depend on the price entirely. But if you want to get into the specs, then so the first thing and one of the main things, the display, 2160 by 2160 per eye on an LCD screen. I think that's going to be a big disappointment to a lot of people. I know a lot of people, if you read all the Reddit forums and stuff, a lot of people were thinking OLED. They were thinking it's going to be, a big resolution. I've seen so many people say, "Oh, if it's at least 140 degrees field of view, I'm in." And I mean, it feels like a Quest.
Yeah. But then I was thinking about this as well, though, because if they had got, I'd love like micro OLEDs and a higher display and better FOV and stuff like that. But then you're talking $2,000. You're talking £1,700 for a headset, which they're not going to sell. No. So they've got to sell it to what crowd they can.
I do think they've made this feels like the VR, more the VR version of the Steam Deck than what they were going for with the Valve Index, which I think is why a lot of enthusiasts were expecting a bit more from this, that kind of Valve Index pushing things. This is not really pushing things, but I do think this is the right decision that they could only make at this point in what VR is, as we know it, especially PC VR at this moment in time. And I suppose the question is, would it move the needle for enthusiasts? No, we've already got multiple headsets, probably some of us, Quest 3, PSVR 2 probably, that we can plug into a PC. I don't think this is for them, but people, the Steam Deck has made Valve hardware way more part of the mindset really, in terms of like public conversation of PC gamers. And I think if this can do a similar kind of thing, this is absolutely the right choice, but it's got to be at that low price. I think the price is going to be absolutely vital in this, and if it's as high as $900, I don't see it being that. I think it needs to be lower than that.
It's such a tough call. When you look at it, when you look at that headset and the controllers, and then multiple people have made the comparisons, and I have as well, and it just looks like Valve have done a Quest. If you just look at it as at the headset and with the controllers sat there. But they're touting this as like a full PC. It runs Steam OS. You can basically take your micro SD card from your Steam Deck and stick it into your Steam frame, and compatibility being a thing depending on the game. But you can basically play your games from what you've had loaded onto your Steam Deck, so on a flat screen. So.
That's why the price has to be cheaper.
It's
just that I would be shocked if it came in at $1,000 or something like that. It has to be. Well, we were going down specs, but we're back into the industry fit. But I'll chime in on the 2160 LCD. I'm not as bothered by the LCD. I know everyone wants micro OLED and deeper blacks and LCDs, played out, but we have to remember with LCD we have better persistence, better Mira, so there are trade-offs there. But the 2160, I didn't need something like what Pamex is doing, 3800 by 3800 or whatever kind of far out stuff. But I'd hope that they had gone beyond a Quest. Quest 3 2 years old now? Yeah, it's 2 years old.
Yeah.
So this is a resolution. I know it's a little more than the Quest 3 resolution, but this is a Quest 3-ish resolution. It's a Reverb G2 resolution from 6 years ago or whatever. So I'd hope that there was some progression there and that we'd get into that 2500 by 25 or 28 by 28 kind of. Yeah. I thought that would be an appropriate 2026 kind of resolution to hit.
Yeah, that would have been my guess. 28 by 28 would have been on my bingo card, definitely. I
See,
know
if this
Gary.
came out before the Quest 3, we'd have gone, this is amazing, this is great. But because we've had the Quest 3 and we've had it 2 years, it doesn't seem like a massive leap, does it? But it's
No.
like we said when we just spoke about, it's not what they're going for anyway.
No.
Which is probably why we're a bit more, we're not downbeat on it as such. I still think it's a great thing, but it's just like the benefits over the Quest 3, if you're into that, for me personally, again, it's not worth getting, really.
Yeah. I know, Gary, you said that Heaney had posted an Upload VR that he'd noticed some pupils swim.
Yeah, this was one of the things. There was two things he mentioned in the article that's on Upload VR. So Ian Hamilton and David Heaney tried this, and Heaney mentioned a couple of things. The first thing that he noticed in the second demo that he had was some sort of regular interval stuttering, like a frame drop at regular intervals. Now, he didn't seem to experience this in the first one, so he thinks it's probably not anything to worry about, but he just wanted to mention that. And that would bother me, because one of the things about this headset is if it has this, and this was talking about streaming it from a PC, by the way, so you get this dongle, this dongle in the box, which runs Wi-Fi 6 at 6 gigahertz, Wi-Fi 6E at 6 gigahertz, and it was this in this use case where he was talking about this interval frame drop. So probably nothing to worry about. It might have been specific with that particular one, but the more important thing was this pupil swim with the lenses. If there's any kind of geometric distortion in lenses, it really bothers me, and I don't like that. So just the fact that it's mentioning that, but then again, he seems very susceptible to it as well, so I don't know how much that will bother me. Some people notice it in the Quest 3 as well, and I don't get any of that in the Quest 3 lenses at all. Even if the IPD is off or anything like that, I don't get any of that. But I have seen people mention some slight distortion on the Quest 3 lenses as well, which, again, doesn't bother me. But it's just that's one of the little concerns I've got, but nothing major really. I don't expect that to be a big problem for me.
I think it's like a lot of things with headsets, isn't it? One thing that will really bother one person, somebody else just won't notice. Yeah. It's like me with like chromatic aberration. I'm just utterly terrible at spotting it. I just don't notice it. If from the various headsets we've had through the years now, it's something that's never bothered me. Even back on the DK1, people were moaning about it, and I could see it, and then it was one thing my brain could just filter out. So yeah, lucky on that regard, I guess. So the refresh rate as well, though, is pretty standard, same as the Index, I think, up to 140. Well, up to 120, and then 144 experimental. I don't know why do they have to call it experimental? Is the Index one still listed as that?
I don't know. I use 144 quite a few times on the Index, and it was never a problem. But I think, I don't know why they call it that. So is it something to do with the panel not technically able to say, they can't say that it actually supports that or something?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a bit weird, but yeah, so pretty standard really. Okay, this was the other one which I think on Reddit, everybody was going, I hope it was built like, be 140 degrees and everything else. So they said the FOV is up to 110 degrees, again, depending on, I suppose, your positioning for the lenses and everything else. Again, for me, I think that was slightly disappointing. I was expecting maybe a little bit more. Pancake lenses, though, thank God for that, because the Index lenses that was one of the reasons I returned mine. I could not stand the glare on those lenses. They were just awful, absolutely awful. I know some people it doesn't bother them.
No, I could not get on with the Index. No. So yeah, I'm very, very glad they made the move to Pancake. And something I'd noticed from I think it was the tested video, I'll just mention here while we're on the lenses, is for anyone that had a Quest Pro or spent any time with it, those Pancake lenses kind of had this copperish, kind of almost metallic kind of look to them, and I'm seeing a similar thing. And it could have just been the lighting, it could have just been a reflection, but I'm seeing something similar. So I'd imagine, this being their first step, that it's going to be a major, major, major improvement over the Index, but might not be as good as Quest 3 lenses because Meta have had a couple cracks at it now, and this is Valve's V1. But yeah, that copper-ish kind of tone stood out to me and gave me Quest Pro flashbacks.
Yeah, The only oh well, I did say this on the Discord, but it still amuses me that the main optics guy that Norm from Tested was interviewing, his surname was Hoodman, as in head-up display man. It's like it's like crazy. But
All
there you go.
into
Absolutely.
I mean, speaking on a design point of view, very quickly, I think it's designed really nice. I mean, it's quite modular, isn't it? From what I've seen on videos, you can take speakers, you can move them out, take that, or something like that.
I don't
it's
know.
all in. What they were saying is, it seems to be like it's all in one. The head strap and the facial interface and the battery seems like one unit that you can take out and replace. And they did sort of allude to the fact that they might create. They're not going to announce anything yet, but there might be other future head straps where you get better integrated audio and stuff like that. And that's one of the things I think I would like, a rigid head strap with that Valve Index audio solution in there as well. That would be sort of perfect, really.
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I really like where the Quest 3 audio is at these days. It still impresses me just from it's the spatialness of it. I don't think using any headphones or any other headset, I don't think spatially anything else has impressed me as much as a Quest 3. Okay, you might be missing the deep bass and everything else, but from the feeling that sometimes a sound will happen, and a random sound in a game, and occasionally it does catch me off guard. Was that outside, or or was it a sound effect in the game? It does work that well, at least to my ears. But the lenses as well are canted slightly inwards, like the Index ones are, although not as much as the Index ones were. The weird thing was that this is a bit of a strange one. The pass-through cameras are black and white, so.
I'm happy. Do you know why? I can tell you exactly why. Mixed reality. I don't want it. I don't want it. So I'm glad they're not going down that route of having that and just having it as a standalone and a PCVR headset. And obviously to save money again. Do you know what I mean? So
if it saves money.
I think that's one more feather in the hat of it being a lower price device.
Yeah, maybe.
The only thing
I'll go out and say that I prefer a quality camera because I often will get a call or something. I have a family, 2 teenagers, and like there's always something going on. Come pick me up or whatever. And being able to see that in the Quest 3 is nice. And I'm not aware of any other. I haven't tried any other headsets that have a good pass through. So I'm sure they exist maybe, but. This is a regression, and it's one, and I always say that because I've recently been using the Pimax Crystal Light, and it's got the same black and white. It feels like the Quest 2, or maybe even worse than Quest 2 pass through, and I feel it, like it bothers me. There's been use cases where I now have to take the headset off to answer my phone or something, and with Quest 3 I didn't have to do that at all.
The only thing I would say about the cameras is, and I'm not bothered. I don't expect this headset to ever. I don't think this was ever going to be like a proper mixed reality thing where you're going to have all this spatial kind of games and stuff like that we see on the Quest 3. But the only thing that surprised me with that, I expected them to still have the colour decent pass through of the Quest 3 because of that flat screen monitor kind of use case for this. If you want to play your flat screen games and you want to get a monitor in your living room the way that you can with the Quest 3, it's fantastic to stream my PC into my Quest and have that sitting there in the middle of the living room, and you've got a good surround as well. It does make a difference, that does, but it's not the focus of this headset. And again, I think if it saves them some money, then it's probably the right choice anyway.
Yeah, it is a shame. I mean, I don't use mixed reality that much, but I always appreciate being able to, if I need to pick the phone up because adjust the lights or do something on the TV, apps are on the phone and I can read the phone.
Yeah.
And I've been playing PSVR 2 quite a bit recently, and each time I go to the pass-through to see something, I can maybe say pick a remote up for the TV, but I've got to know where all the buttons are. I've got to know where everything is. Phone's useless. Can't see my phone through it. It's awful. So I do miss it from that context. But yes, it would be nice just to be able to see your room in color and then have that virtual screen up, for that use case rather than just being in black and white. But yeah, I mean,
Norm mentioned in the tested video, and I know we're going to get on it there's some expansion ports at the bottom of the frame, and he specifically stated, and maybe you'll be able to buy some color pass-through cameras. And the folks at Valve he was talking to, they didn't shoot it down, and you know, it was kind of, they were being, well, we're not announcing any accessories or whatever. So I think for anybody wanting to get this headset that really wants a better pass-through, I think there's some hopium that they can still chew on. You know, although I'd say odds are probably low, but there's something there. And maybe there would be like a third-party mod or something. You know.
Maybe, but
they could have gone color, right? But I suppose, I mean, it's the difference price-wise might not be a huge amount, but it is when you times that by 500,000. So, it may have bumped a bit too much, and they've thought, no, we're not going to do that for what we want to do.
Do you really think there'll be any add-ons though? Because I mean, look at the Index; it had the Frunk. And did anybody, I mean, apart from the tinkerers out there, did anybody really do anything with it apart from use it to store like a cloth to wipe your lenses? Or?
It was the that Ultra Leap. It was good for that. It was almost the perfect size for putting that in there, and that's pretty much the only use. Or those letters that people used to like on the front as well. And that was
they used to do the LEDs, didn't they? Yeah. Okay, fair enough. So versions wise, I think we briefly touched on it. I think Lee mentioned there's two versions, 256 gig and 1 terabyte versions storage wise. Everything else about the headset's the same. 16 gig of RAM, I think it said.
Yep.
So it has got a micro SD card slot. So the question was, why buy the 256 gig one? But as I was saying to Lee, maybe the storage on board is NVMe again. So maybe it's very fast storage on the headset. So you're going to get like a slower loading if you're on micro SD. Don't know. Just guessing, really.
It's a bit strange to put that micro SD in there, right? Unless it's just a case of swapping for the Steam Deck and swapping and putting it into that, and then thinking people are going to use it for that.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
I'd love to see an expansion on the Quest and things like that, but
exactly. I think the fact they're putting it in there is just more like a consumer thing, like a pro consumer thing. It's great on the Steam Deck. I've got multiple SD cards that you can just swap between, install games. You don't need to install a load of games on one. You can just install a few on and then swap the SD cards out. And to get the right SD cards, which are the fast type for the Steam Deck, they're not necessarily cheap, but just having that option is a good thing. So I'm pleased they're doing it. I think, again, it's the right decision based on the fact that they seem to be positioning this as a Steam Deck for your face, which is what I think Brad has been saying for the past few weeks anyway about this.
Yeah.
They're pretty open. Unlike, well, we're going to compare this a lot to Meta and the Quest 3, but unlike them, like the ports are open, like, you can easily transfer your videos there. And, they were very clear to say, we're not pitching this as a media consumption device. We're pitching it more as a gaming device. But they're like, hey, the ports are open. You can do, plug in whatever you're going to plug in and do what you're going to do with them. So I think that contrast to, a more closed platform where you just can't do things, even though they include ports and such, it's welcome.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just smiling because the chat's noticed Steve's room again.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
This is just my basement.
Wow. Where were we? Micro SD cards.
But hey, I'll go on the record. I see chromatic aberration, so we're all dealt different fortunes.
That evens it out, does it? One thing which was briefly touched on in the tested thing as well, the new Steam controller that's coming out, the new joypad, apparently can be tracked by the headset. So I mean that opens up some Astrobot type possibilities. For developers who maybe don't want to use two independent controllers and want to be able to have a solid joypad there, which could be quite neat. But no excuse for Sony not to port Astrobot over now.
Sure they will.
We did get an email as well, and I think it said for immediate release, so we can talk about it. But Titan Isles is coming to the Steam frame as sort of a standalone title, and they're seeing it as like its own platform again because it's got this ARM processor. Basically, you can just install APKs in, same as a Quest 3. Slightly more powerful apparently than the Quest 3, this version that they've got. It's not the XR2 Plus Gen 2. It's like another variation. But yeah, they're using multiple things in this as well. I don't know if you saw this, but because they're obviously the Steam Deck is x86 based. This headset's going to be ARM based, same as the Quest 3. So they're using this open source piece of software called FEX to convert it from x86 to ARM. Then they're using Proton to make all this Windows compatibility as well on top of that. I mean, they're sort of jumping through hoops to make it as compatible as possible with all this stuff. So we'll see how well it all performs. But they seem to think that the performance overhead for doing all of this is, negligible, just a few percent by all accounts.
Oh, wow. Blimey. Just on the joypad there, PD mentioned that he's on about it knows that the gamepad knows the position of your fingers and that if they're a distance away. I think pretty much all the buttons on this are capacitive on the new joypad, on all of them, not just like, maybe your thumbstick or whatever. It's everything. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be a use for that. Just going on to that about getting stuff to work and being a specific version of Titan Isles and whatever, this sort of comes into what me and Lee were talking about before the stream, and it's different versions of a game. Now on the Steam page it says, just like Steam Deck and Steam Machine, Steam Frame will have a verified program that helps you see which games in your library, both VR and non-VR, will work on standalone. So it sounds like it makes it sound like all versions will just be a single version, and then there'll be a compatibility thing to say, oh yes, you can play it standalone on your headset as well. But from what you're saying there, Gary, it sounds like there's a specific standalone version for Steam Frame.
I think I think what it is, they're saying, this will be entirely down to the developers, I would imagine. If they want to make a standalone version, still put that on the Steam store and maybe mark it as a standalone version or something like that, something you can only play on the Steam Frame. Again, it will come down to like the categorization and how they highlight all of this on the Steam store. But it's, the best of my understanding, it's going to be one store for everything, as we expected anyway. But the integration to the different platforms will depend on this verified these tags basically. So you can play anything on anything, as long as it's got that verified tag or whatever, however they're going to organise it, I suppose.
Yeah, but
if you buy the PC VR version, but it says Steam Frame verified, you'll be able to load it on that separately as well as one thing.
Yeah.
But what if it's two different versions? Are you getting, if there is a Steam VR version of a game now, like say Titan Isles, and then they bring like a specific Steam Frame standalone version, if you buy one, do you get the other? Are they going to do a Rift store? You used to buy like the PC one, you got the Quest version as well?
That's
or
where
it gets buy it again.
That's where it gets confusing. The only other thing I could think is from what Titan Isles said, because they seem to be saying that they're seeing this as another platform in the same way that PSVR 2 is another platform, PC is another platform. They're seeing this in itself as another platform. But unless they just mean it's the standard PC version with a specific setting in the options menu for this device to play the standard PC version at settings which will run correctly on this device. I don't know.
I think Steam can decide, like you're looking at, I have Titan Isles in my library, but I think Steam can deploy a package that's appropriate for the device you're playing from. So if you install Titan Isles from your Steam Frame, it should know that, and it should load an appropriate. If not, it's going to use this translator and Proton and all that to translate it. And versus if you're on PC or whatever, it should not. I think they can do, to the end user, you're just looking at it. I have access to one game, but I think on the back end they can deploy different packages as needed.
Yeah, that would make sense.
I'd say that as not a game developer that uploads to Steam.
Yeah. So that would just give developers the option. Then they have the option to then upload a separate APK package if they want to make a specific version, and then if you want to install that game on your Steam Frame, it will just download the APK version or the standalone version to play on that device. I don't know. And
from Titan Isles developer, like, it is a different platform in the sense that they may reach people who don't have a gaming PC, who don't currently have Steam. So in that sense, it is a quote unquote new platform. To us that have had Steam forever, like it's not a new platform per se. That's how I'm reading into it. Again, I don't know, anything more than
Yeah.
what anybody else knows, but yeah, it doesn't seem to me like it's going to be separate ecosystems.
No, it says.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just reading that email from SciTech about Titan Isles. It just says the line that caught my attention was it says Steam Frame joins Android XR and PlayStation VR 2 in the list of platforms receiving Titan Isles in 2026. So yeah, it's already on. It's already on the PC anyway, standard now anyway. So this will presumably be a separate like APK and ARM designed version for the Steam Frame. That's what I'm taking.
Please do not talk about this email till January, right at the bottom.
No, it does say for immediate release. I did double check.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah. Okay. Next up, and this is what I'm sort of more happy about, is the weight of the thing. So I've got down here. I think you said, Gary, 400 grams ish
in total. Yeah, I think Norm was saying the front section is something like 180 grams.
I think it was 190. I've got it in my head as 198.
Right.
When you had some of the specs scrolling past earlier, I think it said something like the strap and the battery was 245.
Right. Okay.
So maybe it's maybe it's more somewhere from 400 to 450. But the original Rift, which is still one of the lighter headsets, I mean, not counting the big screen Beyond and what we've got now, but the original Rift was 470 grams. That was always one of the lighter ones. Quest's over 500. Index is over 800. So this is half the weight of an Index.
Yeah.
Which is, I think that people who've only ever used an Index and never really used anything else, I think you're in for a very pleasant surprise if you move over to this thing, because weight is just so important.
Yeah.
And
do not underestimate the importance of having a battery on the back and not on the front of your face. It's
finally massive. Somebody's finally done it. They've put the battery on the back, so if the battery explodes, it can just kill me instantly instead of blinding me. It should have battery on the back to counterbalance that weight. I've been after that for so long. I think that's going to make just the overall comfort of it just something else out of the box. Out of the box, at least, anyway. It's the Index was the weight of it was another one of the reasons. I had multiple reasons which just all added up as to why I sent mine back, and again the weight was one of them. So initially it didn't look like there was a top strap to this thing, but there's an addition you can put. There is one included which you can add on, but it's still fabric, isn't it? This is the.
I thought it was rubber, wasn't it? Was it rubber?
Well,
is this an additional purchase you can buy? Is it, or is it included with?
I'm assuming it's included. It looked too like irrelevant to be a separate purchase on the Valve store, but it's flexible at any rate. Because it all folds in. There was one of the guys on the tested thing. They had their headset, and the back of it was all folded up against the actual front part. So I'm not a fan of that. I prefer a rigid head strap. But at least it all seems replaceable anyway.
Yeah, it does look like that's one of the areas where they're saving money on this strap as well, because you would think, like on the Index and like on a lot of headsets, they do have that sort of rear knob dial that you can turn and tighten and release. This has just got the adjustable straps on the side, so you tighten it. Then again, because it's it stretches. Once you've adjusted it for your head, you just put it on, take it off, and you're sorted. I suppose you don't need to keep adjusting it, but
yeah. PD heard from people who've tried it that it's comfortable and far more comfortable than a Quest 3. Anything's more than comfortable than a Quest 3 out the box. It's so uncomfortable it should be illegal.
No one runs that standard, right? Is anyone in the chat that's got a standard Quest 3 with the jock strap and the fascia? Because I don't think none of us have, right? We don't use that. We use third-party straps, strap-ons, PD. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but again, we are not the normal consumer, right? We're the power users, and I'd imagine of all the Quest 3s have sold, wouldn't you say most of them are rocking the included strap?
I imagine people who aren't in the
certain age,
who aren't really involved in the community probably are. I think anybody if you go onto any of the VR Discords and talk to the people who are on there, I bet 99% of them have replaced.
Oh yeah, if you're a type of person to go to Discord and Reddit, you're the type to buy Bobo.
Yeah, but it would be interesting to know how many people still use the default thing out of the box, because it really is that bad. The faceplate's apparently magnetically attached. I'm sure, I don't know if I read that or if no one mentioned that. I can't remember. I'm not a massive fan of magnetically attached faceplates, but then again, maybe the magnets need to be just stronger. It was that what was the globular cluster
globular cluster.
interface that had the magnetic interface.
Yeah.
The amount of times I picked the headset up and dropped the headset because I basically picked it up by the interface and it just instantly came off. Not a massive fan of that sort of design, but maybe it just needs better magnets.
Has anyone mentioned what the type of quality, well, I say quality, what the material is, what's on the fascia? It looks the same as the back of the strap as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks the same as the index. Yeah, which was,
and it's because I'm, being the handsome guy I am, I do have a very sensitive skin, and the Meta Quest one's always been slightly itching and very annoying. And saying that though, the open face one we've got a minute, I'm actually fine with that, but I'd just be interested to know what type of fabric, not that I want to know exactly what fabric it is, but how it feels on your face. Does it feel itchy? Does it, that type of thing? But
the index was one of the best ones that I've ever used from that point of view.
It looks nice.
Yeah.
So I presume it would feel the same as well.
I can't remember what they called it now, but they had like a specific phrase to describe what they would do, like some kind of breathable fabric type. I can't remember, but it almost feels like a bit like gel-like as well. But it feels really good. Yeah.
I was just looking in chat there. Where's it gone? Yeah, Duck Stew said, "Do you think the Steam frame will there be a push for 3D in games?" I'm assuming you mean just like stereoscopic 3D in games. So maybe that could make a comeback. So you can at least play a flat game in 3D as opposed to flat. I would like to see that return, because that would add value. Then that would definitely add value. It could persuade me to sit there and use a headset to play a flat game.
What do you mean, like a reshade add-on that you click on?
Yeah, or that. Yeah, or like that. That old Avatar game we tried. What had 3D built in?
I mean, that wasn't bad. I mean,
from years ago.
For its time.
That was excellent in its time.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad either now.
If they can price this cheap enough that a lot of people adopt it, then it might persuade developers to do it. Once again, I think it goes back to that price issue, and what this device is really aiming to be. If it's aiming to get to that Steam Deck kind of player base, just push people into that kind of area, it's got to be priced like a Steam Deck. And Gabe Newell said the Steam Deck was, the price that they were selling that for was difficult to get to, indicating like they probably weren't making a lot of money, if anything, on those Steam Decks initially, at least. So, I don't know which route they're going to take with this, but I think they've got to go for that kind of route again. As I said at the beginning, I know I'm going over the same points again a little bit here. So,
but they're getting 30% of every game sold on
software,
and making tons of money. They don't develop games anymore, hardly. No. Right? Like, so, I think as a business model, it makes sense to, you don't have to necessarily sell the hardware at a loss, but it doesn't have to be, unlike a Mega NX or a Big Screen Beyond, where they have to like make their money in the hardware and that's it, right? Valve is not bound by that same constraint.
Yeah, true. Let's just keep going on through the list. I can't remember where we got up to. Where were we? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, Facebook. So the dongle. There's a dongle in it, so you don't need to actually have a dedicated Wi-Fi router or mess around sharing it with an existing Wi-Fi router. The dongle's 6E. Apparently, it's dual band, so it splits the channels. It sounds like one channel is basically dedicated to actually streaming PC VR to you, and it dedicates you the channel maybe for downloading stuff or whatever. So it doesn't, one doesn't interrupt the other. The headset itself's actually Wi-Fi 7, so if you've got a Wi-Fi 7 router, you can use that instead. I'm still on 6E. I've never had a need to go to Wi-Fi 7. It'll be interesting to see if there is any boost using Wi-Fi 7. Although they were saying, again in the interview with Norm, that the stream seems to be sort of fixed, or more or less fixed at 250 megabits a second, but it is using eye tracking to do foveated streaming. So basically, most of the bandwidth for the stream is on the sort of foveated region, on the area you're looking at. So I know Norm was saying that when he was trying the headset, he said, if somebody had given me this headset and told me I was looking at a wired connection, I would have believed it. So it does sound like the quality is good.
This is an important feature. It's probably the single biggest thing, particularly if you're a PC VR fan, that separates it from the Quest. Foveated streaming, that's, they're tapping into the stream, but we would know it more historically as foveated encoding. And it's, I'll go ahead and try to explain the differences a little bit, because for years we've talked about foveated rendering as well. Foveated rendering, the game or the game engine has to support it, and it uses the eye tracking data to reduce the rendering outside of where you're looking at. Foveated streaming, in Valve's case, or foveated encoding, is taking that in the Steam frames reference of 250 megabits a second, and it's dedicating the quality of that stream to where you're looking. Contrast that to those using virtual desktop with a Quest 3 or even Meta's AirLink. Whatever you set the slider to, that 300 megabits or whatever is spread over the whole display, and even where you're not looking. So to me, this is huge. I know PD in chat was asking us to talk about this and the impacts that it's going to make for UEVR. Because a lot of those games can choke down. Is one of my big drivers for stepping into a Pimax Crystal Light is I kind of just got tired of the compression in games that had lots of vegetation. Like if you're in a forest setting, you notice that compression real easy. So I think this is a standout feature. I do want to ask you guys though, and I haven't had a headset that has eye tracking in a long time. This looks like it has just one camera per eye. Is that where modern headsets are with eye tracking are doing it? I assume there's still the cluster of cameras around. So they very clearly showed one camera in one of the videos that I watched, as well as when the guy from Valve was explaining it to Norm. He said we have, I forget the camera count, the pass-through, or not the pass-through, but the tracking cameras. He's like, we have 4 cameras and we have 2 on the inside. He very clearly said 2 on the inside. And they showed what looks like just one camera kind of pointing up at an angle. So I don't know where the eye tracking itself is going to be in terms of eye tracking quality for headsets as we know it, but it may work well enough for the foveated purposes.
I think the way a lot of them work, so that cluster around is actually they are IR emitters that reflect from your eye and then are picked up by a single camera. To the best of my knowledge, that's what I think happens. So when you look at the feed from an eye tracking thing, you'll notice that around your pupils you'll have like these LEDs that are reflecting in your pupils, and that's what it's tracking the position of, as far as I understand. I think the only reason I'm saying that is because I think the Apple Vision Pro is one of the first headsets to have multiple cameras focused on your eyes, as well as these to do the eye tracking. So I don't think Tobii eye tracking, again, I don't know this for sure, so feel free to correct me if anybody knows this, but I think anything that uses like the Tobii eye tracking solution will use a single camera. Apple Vision Pro is using more. So I don't know. One of the things about this, so just to be clear, like what you were saying there, Steve, as well, so this foveated streaming, foveated encoding, it's not going to add a performance boost or anything like that, but it will clean up the image because it's using the bandwidth to focus on that area. So it won't add any performance advantage. But I wondered about this, and if you are streaming from a PC, like an OpenXR title, if there would be an option or some kind of third-party software that they could add in to sort of tap into OpenXR for the games that do use it, like Microsoft Flight Simulator, to do both.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They said, they were not super concrete with this answer. Norm did kind of bring it up. They said that the foveated encoding foveated streaming, sorry. The foveated streaming is sort of hardware level, or it's in there every game, everything you're doing, even if you're playing a flat game, that's going to be working out of the box, right? In fact, they even said they don't even believe that you'll be able to disable it. So we'll see how that goes with Steam VR updates.
Yeah.
They said to do the foveated rendering, the game developer has to support it. They did not clarify that you could do both at the same time, but if the eye tracking data is passed to the PC, it's passed to the PC. So that'll be those kind of details that mainstream coverage just isn't going to get into, that people like us are going to want the answer on.
Yeah, this one of because during that interview as well, they were going on about how the game is still rendered on your PC at the full resolution, and then the foveated streaming is what that passes it to the headset. What got me wondering there was, were they just talking about flat screen games? Because obviously, if you're playing like a flat screen game on your big virtual screen in VR, then I can see why a flat screen 2D game would not be using foveated rendering. But can it do it for a VR game that supports it? That definitely wasn't answered, or I don't think it was even asked, was it? Not as far as I can remember. I mean, I hope it is, because give me a performance boost, please, without buying a new graphics card.
Well, that would be one thing that would elevate this headset a little bit beyond what we think at the moment as well. Because if Quest 3 had eye tracking in there and it could be utilized for these types of things, then I think that would make the Quest 3 a little bit more desirable as well. So this would just become like a more desirable Quest 3. At the moment, we've got to wait and see on some of this stuff.
Yeah. I mean, as Artful said,
and on that same note, Steam VR 2.0, if you have is it the Play for Dream?
Yeah.
That it can now use its eye tracking and do this foveated encoding as well. And the feedback, I don't have a Play for Dream, I've never used one, but feedback that I gather from those out there that do, that it's a major improvement to the encoding quality.
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll definitely take it. I mean, I'm always generally impressed with how good Quest handles streaming. It's just the occasional title every now and again will suddenly, for some reason, jump out at me, and it's like, that's an encoded image. Why does that look encoded where a different game, it's like I personally can't tell the difference between the wireless version and a wired headset. It's some games are just better at it than others, I suppose, and I suppose it depends on the sort of what's the word, the granularity of the detail. High quality detail games, especially stuff with grass, things like that becomes very obvious then that you're looking at an encoded stream. But so any boost to that, I'm all for it, definitely. The binocular overlap, this sounds good, because the one thing one of the things I hate about Quest is the binocular overlap. It's awful. It always has been. Rift was really bad, and that's what actually annoyed me when I tried the Quest 3S, because the Quest 3S binocular overlap is it's drastically better than a normal Quest 3. He was talking to the optics guy again, who said in places it can be pretty much 100% the binocular overlap, but then as he went on and he was talking, it says it obviously depends whereabouts you're looking and your face and everything as well. It sort of seems to be from sort of like 90% upwards. And Quest 3, I don't know what the figure is for Quest 3, but it's definitely nowhere close to that. It's always an obvious thing. I always notice it every single time I put the headset on. I can generally forget about it after a while, but it's always that first thing that hits me in the face when I put my Quest on. And again, with PSVR 2, there's no problem with it. So I'm hoping it's more akin to a PSVR 2 in terms of the overlap than a Quest 3. The price.
I hope the lenses are good. I mean, I just speak about the lenses very quickly, because the Quest 3 ones are so good. I mean, was it last year, Gary? We went to the Pico 4 Ultra launch event in London, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we both literally put the Pico 4 on straight away, and then just went, oh, this isn't as good as the Quest 3. Like within seconds, you could tell the difference. So I'm hoping, if I do get to try one at some time, that I'm not going to be like, oh, this doesn't look as good as what the Quest 3 is. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what it looks. People have been saying it looks great, haven't they? So, I mean, the screens, if they're on par with what the Quest 3 ones are, then I know the resolution in that, but yeah, I don't know. That's what's worrying me. You know what I mean? Really, what it looks
I
like.
think that's a fair worry because I had the same worry. Like Raj, I thought the index was terrible, and like the index was probably the worst lenses of any VR headset. The second worst is probably the OG Vive. Both Valve had a major hand and involvement in, and so their track record for lens quality to me isn't very high. Now I think Pancake, just it being a Pancake lens, will make it superior than any Fresnel headset. But comparing Pancake to Pancake, yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
You know, Pimax has the same thing with their newer thing. It's not out, Gary. I'm sure they're going to send you one. Probably not too long. You got one on the desk right now, don't you?
No, I've not. I don't think they will. I don't think they will.
But they're transitioning to Pancake as well. But it purely being Pancake doesn't mean it's going to be like the Quest 3 necessarily.
No.
So we'll have to see.
Some people complain about the Quest 3 lens as well. I mean, I like them, but they do, because they have that like darkening towards the edges slightly, don't they? If you've noticed that, very, very slightly. And some people really dislike that aspect of them as well. Like they call it like a vignette, you know, that kind of feeling like that.
The Quest Pro was a lot worse.
Yeah.
So Meta made, and it could be my individual sample units too, right? The one Pro I have and the 1.3 that I have, but the back when the Quest 3 first came out, I was trying to decide, I'm not going to have both the Pro and the 3. And one of the reasons I kept the 3 was the resolution increase, but also the lenses were just a notable improvement over the Pro.
There's just going to chat there. Artful was saying this isn't aimed at solely as a VR device. Well, it isn't. And also about the sim racers, this is not going to appeal to the sim racer crowd. I think those people have got their headsets.
Yeah,
they've got their Pimax, or they've got their even higher, higher level ones.
This is to bring users in. It's got to be for that. It's got to be to bring new people into it. I know. We're probably going to talk about that at the end anyway.
So yeah, we've talked about the price before, didn't we? And the color pass through, and the Steam. Yeah, I think we've covered everything we sort of noted down. And so yeah.
Oh, very quickly though, didn't they say something about on one video about the IR trackers on the controllers? It's got like, is it 12? I can't remember what they said, but you could basically play it in pitch black, and it will pick everything.
Oh, it has got IR. It's got IR emitters on the headset as well.
Yeah, emitters. Sorry, yeah.
So
saw that. So that's handy.
Yeah,
especially for Roger's room.
Oh wow, yeah. I mean, this is as bright as my room gets. This is ridiculous. Although kudos to Meta finally for getting rid of that stupid message what pops up saying your room's not bright enough.
Your room is too dark.
My tracking's working fine, but it used to bitch at me constantly. But it depends. It goes through variations. Every few versions of the of the Quest BIOS, it'll change. At the moment, I'm not getting any notifications at all, but I don't know. Come version 83, I'm sure they'll be back.
Started getting them for hand tracking now.
Oh, no.
It's too dark for hand tracking. I'm like, but it's 2:00 in the afternoon. What do you mean it's too dark? But yeah.
Duck Stu said in the comments as well. Lighthouse tracking is done with. It's done with by the look of it. So I think it's safe to say that we're not going to see another headset from Valve at least, and I think that you can still see them. They're still appearing like Big Screen Beyond 2 and certain specific headsets still utilizing that, but I think that's going to be a slow sort of gradual death of those, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they've already said that they're not making indexes anymore, but are they still producing lighthouses and base stations and spare knuckles controllers?
I think someone took over them. I don't know if they took over the manufacturing. There was some talk about this, and I'm going back probably 2 years. Somebody else, it might have been HTC even, who took them over, the manufacturing and everything of those. Again, I don't know. I'd need to look into that for the details, but they did say that the Index is now, they're not manufacturing anymore or anything like that, but they're going to support it indefinitely. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Gary, the last thing we've got written down there anyway was who was it aimed at?
Yeah.
which you were just about to get into, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning, really, and I think we've touched on this all the way through. I don't think this is necessarily something that we're going to pick up, based on what we know about it at this moment in time, and based on the kind of stuff that we play. Certainly, what I play and what I'm interested in. This is not giving too much value over a standard Quest 3, or not enough value over a Quest 3 for me to invest in this headset as well, because I'm still going to keep my Quest 3. I'm not going to sell that because I've got a big library of standalone games on that as well. I think it's doing some interesting stuff for sure. And it will, like we said, will come down to the price. But who is it for? It's to get new people in. It's to get that Steam Deck crowd who were, they were PC gamers. And slowly over the years that Steam Deck has been out, it's persuaded more and more people to leave their powerful desktop PCs and think, I can pick this device up as well, play it in my living room or away from my PC occasionally as well. And it can play all the same games. It's all the same library. You can stream games from your powerful PC to this device as well. Yeah. It's got a lot of functionality, and it's won people over the past few years. Some people who were skeptical about it as well. And I think this is trying to go down that path. So that's why it will all come down to price. Whether it can do that or not, I don't know. People are just very skeptical about VR. People that are not already interested in it. Will this win those people over? Maybe, depending.
Will Valve doing a standalone headset bring people in? Yeah. The weird thing, like we say with the Steam Deck, how it's been remarkably popular, is it seems to be a thing with handhelds, because I know Switch 2's been breaking records as well, which seems. I wouldn't have thought it would have done anywhere near what it has done. So yeah, maybe sort of moving away from big clunky consoles and pieces of hardware and PCs into something a bit more in a compact form factor it's just appealing to people.
Yeah, they like the portability. I'm too much of a fidelity snob. I don't have a Steam Deck. I've kind of thought about getting one a few times. I'm like, but the only time I would ever choose to play it is traveling and when I'm away from home. If I'm at home, I have more powerful options. So I think I just agree with Gary. He and I are of one mind, it seems, when it comes to this thing. I don't know how popular it'll be. I hope it brings more people to VR. Will I get one? I mean, it's really going to come down to the price. I don't see a point to have it and a Quest 3. That said, I like the Steam ecosystem, and there are games that, kind of like the game that they're playing in this video now, Hades. A lot of people have talked about it. I think it's Hades. It's apparently a great game. It's because it's not VR, because it's not UEVR-able. I haven't paid any attention to it. But it would be nice if I'm on an airplane or something to be able to play these types of games that I've kind of sat out on. And that is a major feature that the Quest 3 doesn't have for me, So, I don't know. I think it comes down to price. I'm interested. I've mentioned the Pimax a few times. I kind of really like that as a UEVR unit. I play mostly UEVR stuff these days anyways. If I didn't have it, the foveated streaming and everything, this headset, I think for those that are really big into UEVR, this may make a better UEVR player than a Quest 3 does, for sure. So there's a market for it. Just how big is it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if they could get foveated rendering and foveated encoding working with UEVR, that'd be a big plus. But we'll have to wait and see on that one. Devil Blader in chat said, having a full Linux PC with Steam OS on the Steam frame sounds so cool. Yeah, I mean, they are advertising it as, basically as a PC for your face, aren't they? So, yeah, we'll see. And talking about your username there as well, Devil Blader, Devil Blade Reboot, shoot 'em up, retro shoot 'em up on Steam. Go play it. It's great.
There's one other thing, Lee. I know you've not given your impressions yet. I know you think it's for, but go ahead, because there's one more thing I wanted to mention about this as well. Actually, before we go,
no, it's the same sort of thing that's already been echoed by you guys. Really, I mean, it's not really for me as it is at the moment. Unless I try one and think, wow, my god, this is amazing, and it makes a massive difference. I mean, my PC is not really. It is PC VR capable, but it's not the best, and maybe it would help in that regard for me. But saying that, I don't have the worst experience playing things like Half-Life Alyx. I mean, I used to play that on my 960 graphics card. So, I mean, will it encourage more devs to bring VR games out? I don't know. I suppose we'll have to wait and see about sales. But as it appeals to, yeah, they're trying to get the flat screen gamers into a headset. And like Steve says, maybe for portability, if you're doing a lot of trips away, you can sit with that on the plane and play games on a massive screen and things like that. But I don't know. I mean, how much is the Xbox 360 Quest 3S sold? I mean, who plays that on the Quest? Because we don't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be down to price for me. I mean, if it came out at like 600 quid, I would say yes, I'd pick one up. If it's 700, probably. It starts going above that, and it's like, do I really need it? Probably not.
Yeah. I said, if this came out before the Quest 3, I'd have been totally for it and I'd have bought that. Yeah. But I've got that many games on the Quest 3. Saying that, I mainly play Walkabout Mini Golf. So how much more money would it really cost me just to play Walkabout Mini Golf? Probably not a lot, but yeah.
The one thing I wanted to mention before we left as well, because I don't think we've mentioned this. I know we spoke about it probably before the show started, but I just wanted to talk about the standalone PC VR options with this. Did we touch on that during this, or am I misremembering? I don't think we mentioned that while we were live, but it's only because when in that tested video, Norm asked about the power of this processor that's on board with this, and he was saying that this is less powerful than the Steam Deck. Effectively, is what they came back with. So the Steam Deck is targeting like 15 watts TDP, and this is going to be 7 watts. Like it's got more, but it has some overhead for the tracking and all those other things as well. So in terms of like a standalone PC VR device, I still struggle, as I've said all along. I don't know how it's going to work with this. Yeah. That's the only thing. Maybe I think we touched on that a little bit earlier, but I just don't. Yeah. I don't think we got really into it. That it
does make you wonder how it does that, doesn't it? Because I mean, Switch 2 in handheld is 15 watts, docked it's 22.
Yeah,
and even then it's like, it's amazing what the Switch 2 can do, but half of that is. I mean, we didn't actually mention the chipset, which now what is it? Is it a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3?
Yeah, I think it's it's
not the XR, which that stood out to me. I can't believe we didn't get it on the list because my understanding is the XR chip had VR XR specific optimizations and chip design, whether it be the pin-out design or something that kind of like when it comes to tracking cameras and such. And I wonder if there's regression here from a SoC or an architecture type perspective. I know it's Gen 3, but it's not XR Gen 3.
No, so in the upload article, they touched on this briefly. And again, just for anybody watching, we're going live with this very shortly after hearing all these details. So we're going to get some things wrong during this as well. But I think they said in that article that this is the Adreno 750, and in the Quest 3, it's an equivalent like the Adreno 740, which effectively means, I think they said that the GPU power in this is 25% higher than in a Quest 3. And also keeping in mind that the Quest 3 underclocks in order to save on thermals as well and battery life. So this will be more powerful than a Quest 3, and yet they're stating that the actual chip, the actual processor, two completely different types, by the way. You've got an x86 based processor and an ARM based processor. They're saying that it's the actual wattage that is being delivered to these processors is half of what's being delivered to it in a Steam Deck. So it's not the same thing. We're not it's not like for like comparison, I suppose. But it's interesting. And the other thing, when they were talking about Half-Life Alyx, they were saying that they've not got Half-Life Alyx running on this, but they said that it's possible that they could develop a version or a set of options within Half-Life Alyx that they could get running on this. Potentially, they didn't commit to that, which, as we know, Half-Life Alyx is a really well optimized game anyway. You're running it on 960. This is not even a 960. I wouldn't imagine equivalent.
No.
So it's I just struggle. What use is this going to be on PC VR standalone in terms of standalone? And I hope people are not expecting too much from that. They were demoing things like Gorn and Moss. Although from that tested video I said earlier, I feel like they were sort of hinting that Skyrim was running standalone when Norm was testing it, but they didn't confirm that in the video. So, if they can do that, then that would be great. But yeah, we'll wait and see on that.
I think, if you look at it from a library perspective, a lot of us have a lot of those 2016, 2017 VR games in our library still.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of those will just work. Whereas, when the Quest first came out, I remember, Gary, in VR Roundtable stuff, we were like rebuying Beat Saber and rebuying games that we already had in our press account for just to try it on the Quest. Well,
yeah,
I see the Steam Deck is not having to do that, right? Your games that you already have, you're not going to run Elite Dangerous at super sampled or whatever on this thing, but a lot of those simpler games, I think they have a chance.
Yeah, I'll just think,
you get the 2016 experience in 2025.
Yeah, which is fine, but I feel like the expectation based on the resolution, because what we got to remember as well, we were playing those 2016 games on 2016 headsets, which had a much lower resolution. Mm-hmm. And I think that plays a big role in this as well, in terms of expectation of what people will want these PC VR games running on a standalone device to look like. If you drop the resolution down to 1080p, then maybe. I just don't think that's going to be a good experience or what people expect in 2025. I don't know. This is the thing. It's a lot of this is speculation anyway, because we've got to wait and see on this.
The one thing what would push me more to get one is simply because of the fact that we do the podcast as well. And that would actually be a deciding factor. If it got to that point of, is the cost high enough that I normally wouldn't buy it, but because I do the podcast, it's worth an extra £100 just to be able to get it and talk about it? Probably. And I think I'm probably deluding myself, because I'll probably end up getting one anyway.
What? Why though?
I don't know.
Because I don't know. Like for us,
new toy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still tempted, even though I myself don't know why I would, because I don't know what specific advantage I'm getting out of this. The comfort, the weight is an advantage, and that foveated streaming, encoding, whatever, that is an advantage as well. But I don't know.
This is a problem.
Is that a specific thing for Steam though, or could like Meta do a foveated streaming thing? They won't, by the way, but could they do something like that as well? Or is it just limited to Steam itself?
That foveated streaming is it will work on any Steam headset that's got eye tracking. It works now.
Oh, it's eye tracking. Yeah, it's eye tracking. Yeah, so it's no good for.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of headsets that have eye tracking.
Yeah.
That are wireless and require encoding. A lot of the headsets that have head tracking still connect with a cable, which this is irrelevant for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll say it's gonna appeal to people. Yeah, like I was saying in chat, it's some people just don't like Meta. They don't want to give the money to Meta, and this could be a very good option.
Trust me, I don't. You know what I mean?
This is my point. I'm not saying don't get this, get a Quest 3. What I'm saying is, if you already own a Quest 3 and you don't mind having one, I struggle with this, thinking what advantage. And I still want one. How does that work? I don't know.
This is exactly the problem. Yeah.
What about it as a platform going forward, right? Like, Meta is Meta. Like, I think maybe, I don't know, we all agree here, but I question, especially with the economy starting to slump and pressures that are going to be on Zuckerberg, I question their continual gaming focus commitment to VR, XR going forward. And yes, you're pot invested with your hundreds of meta games that you have that is steering this discussion. But looking forward 3 years from now, will you find yourself, okay, this game, I don't know, Windlands 3 comes out and it's available both on Meta and on Steam, aka Steam Frame, right? Will you find yourself wanting to get it on the Steam ecosystem instead of the Meta ecosystem?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I think that is a reason that I just how Meta did the Rift store and just dropped it like a bad habit, and it's dead. And they could do the same thing. And I don't feel like Valve, they operate on Valve time. And yeah, they're certainly, not releasing Half-Life Alyx anytime, Half-Life Alyx 2 or Half-Life 3. We have no reason to think that those are around the corner. You know, they're at least there because this is their business, right? This isn't Meta's core business, despite them naming the whole company Meta.
Yeah. Just Les in chat then said, would an OLED version later on convince you to buy one? So I mean, they did an OLED version of the Steam Deck. I don't know, a couple of years after the original launch.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've not really been forced, to be honest. Because of the Quest 3 one, again, I'm not quite a Meta fanboy, but because the panels are that good, really, I don't really see a massive black difference. Perhaps it's because I'm used to it. I mean, compared to the Quest 2, which was garbage, the Quest 3 is night and day with their panels. So I think they've come on a long way. The LCD panels have, but would I love an OLED? Yes, absolutely. I'd love an OLED version of it, but it comes down to price, doesn't it? Again, I mean, will they bring one out? Like you say, we don't know the price. If this is $699, will they bring an OLED one out at £1,100, £1,000? Maybe I'd be tempted. I don't know. Again, it's dependent, doesn't it, on the light and stuff like that. But that's another total different discussion.
I think you're right, though. I agree. I think it just comes down to price. And from what we know about how much OLED, micro OLED panels anyway, how much micro OLEDs are, they're very, very expensive. So they would probably add quite a bit on the cost.
Just trying to think, is there anything else anybody wants to talk about?
No, I'm done.
I mean, I've seen people saying the latency is super low on about Wi-Fi, and people do have a lot of issues with Wi-Fi. I think I saw, it might have been Linus say the latency on the PC that they were trying, obviously it's a controlled environment and Valve set it all up, but it was like 1 millisecond. And they were saying the older generation graphics cards, like mine, maybe the 4000, 3000 series, it was like 4 or 5 milliseconds latency, which, I'll believe it when I see it, literally. But if they are getting those sort of numbers, then that impressed me as well.
Yeah,
the weak link. I mean, I'm at 2 or 3 milliseconds. There isn't making a difference when the weak link is the decoding on the headset side, right? That is by far the bottleneck. I mean, that dongle that they're including with the Steam Frame is USB 2.0 because that's under. Yes, it is under the USB 2.0 is good up to like 480 megabits a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, and if they're using 250, so this is not a bandwidth or a throughput issue. Mm-hmm. It is a decoding on the client side, on the headset itself. Yeah. It can't probably go much higher, and that's the same thing. If you use virtual desktop and you slam the encoding all the way to the max, or use the Oculus debug tool, if people still using AirLink, and set that too high, you start introducing a lot of latency. It's the latency versus encoding fidelity that's the trade-off. And yeah, I think the foveated encoding will help latency, but at the end of the day, we're still going to be bound by these chips, and that even brings more question without it being an XR dedicated chip. How will its encoding performance, better because of the foveated, but pound for pound, will it outperform a XR dedicated chip? Don't know.
Well, hopefully we won't have too long to wait. So when do you think? I know it says early 2026. We're getting it January, February, March?
January 1st, pre-orders.
My guess would be around March. I think that's what I always say when
February. I feel like I'm going to say February because they use the word early. When I start hearing March, April, although it's still early in the year, that would be spring 2026 to me. Would be the terminology there. So I'm going to say February.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, we'll good point, Chris.
Chris Valentine's Day present for the missus. I bought you a Steam Frame. There you go. Great.
Chris Hackwood just said in chat, does it use local dimming? I don't think we brought this up. No, it doesn't. No word on that at all. It's just an LCD.
This is the thing. They're cutting costs at every corner, it feels like, in certain aspects, which again, I think is the right decision to get more new people in, not for the enthusiasts. It's to get new people in.
Yeah. There's what show is it in January? What trade show?
CES.
I just wonder if we'll get any sort of announcement there, or
I don't know that Valve's ever. Yeah, this doesn't seem well. I take not so much for the Steam frame, but the Steam machine. That is very CES relevant, I think. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's true, because I still don't know anything about it. There's for anybody who doesn't know, there's a nice little Steam. What was it called? The box thing.
Machine.
Steam machine. They're calling it Steam machine again. Yeah.
There's a very cute Borg-like Steam machine coming out as well, along with the joypad.
Yeah.
But yeah, don't know anything about that. I'm going to go and watch the Digital Foundry video, I think, after this, and find out. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to say as well, we've got the next podcast in about a week and a half, so I'm sure we'll discuss this a little bit. 22nd, yeah. So I'm sure we'll go into this once we've let these details digest a little bit as well, because we're coming in a bit hot here.
I like that. Duck Stew said the Gabe Cube. So the Game Cube.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Kind of cool.
I guess the battery isn't swappable. No, but you can plug in external batteries. So is the battery not hot swappable?
No, it's not.
No.
But yeah, it's fixed.
It is. Okay. Yeah.
There is a top strap, Chris. It does come.
Yeah, it comes.
I'm not sure if it comes with it or not. Roger seems to think it does.
I think it
so
does.
you can add the top strap to it as well.
Yeah, the top. Yeah, there's a top strap, and the battery's on the back, so it's balanced. The weight of the headset seems perfectly balanced front to back, so it should be pretty.
With
good.
it being so light, maybe you don't need a top strap. I don't know, but
I've seen people say on videos that it didn't really make any difference to what they were wearing. They did say there was a bit of a light leak on the fascia though. So I mean, everyone's got a different shape head, haven't they, face and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But by all accounts, when they put the top strap on, they said it didn't really make any difference, comfortable or feeling of weight and distribution or anything like that. So
I've never known a headset yet where it didn't make a difference. It's always
true.
Top strap sold separately, according to Michelle B.
£99.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for being here. If you're watching, oh, here we go. Let's fail the outro, shall we?
Let's restart.
Yeah.
Start over.
Yeah.
We'll edit this bit out, don't worry.
Yeah. But yeah, just thanks to everybody who turned up in chat to be with us, to listen to us ramble on. Thank you very much for Steve joining us from his mansion. And
it's got a game-sized yacht outside as well.
Yeah.
Look at that massive arcade machine in the background as well.
I know, it's shocking.
Yeah, what my younger teenager is doing all the artwork on it, and drawing, painting the characters and such. It's been about a year in progress, so he kind of stopped working on it a little.
We should do it at Steve's.
Under a year
we should do
ago.
it in Steve's basement, and then we could play Paul in the background while Steve just.
Yeah.
Come on over. It's an open invite, all of you.
There we go.
Thank you.
Oh, excellent. Right. Well, yep. We'll be back on the 22nd, and until then, cheers, everyone.
Alrighty, bye.
See you later.
Take care.